Okay, it's
Okay,
preparing.
you are live now.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I think. Um, Hello. Wow. And I think that's interesting. Welcome everybody to our show. And I think what showed up is what this energy that we're talking about is all about. So the title for today is Love, Leadership, and the Lion's Gate, Harnessing 8-8 Energy for Lasting Impact. And this 8-8 Lionsgate portal, it's a time of just heightened energy. But I think something we could explore is, where does this energy come from? What is it about? Because sometimes people wonder. But it's something that actually uh there's alignment going on, and it's a window of opening of energy that comes in. And on the 8th of the 8th, it's like it's the middle of that. It's like the peak of a crest of a wave that's coming through. And at that moment, it's the peak time of that energy. And we know that the earth itself has a resonance that
Mm.
goes on. So at this time, it's like it's called like a cosmic green light for transformation, manifestation and clarity. And it's a way of bringing everything to the surface that wants to be cleared and seen. So I just thought it would be a great opportunity to explore it and think, well, okay, that was the peak on Friday on the 8th. We're now on the 12th. Oh, is it too late? Because some people might think, oh my goodness, this is too late. Well, no, you know, it's a window. And okay, today is the end of that sort of window, but there's still that opportunity to focus in and tune in,
Mm.
to support you. And yeah, where does this energy come from? What are we talking about? So I think it'd be great to explore that in terms of relationships, because some people might be wondering, well, things are suddenly getting a bit explosive in their relationship. Business might be going a little bit awry, or
Mm.
something. Suddenly, things are flowing quite easily, and everything just seems to be falling into place. So it just helped you to understand what is going on right now. That's the thought would be a great thing to talk about.
Mm.
So, your thoughts on this?
Shireen, go
Where we
ahead.
can go.
Oh no, I'm happy for Carmel to go.
All right. Well, I'm gonna. I mean, it's like Caroline said. This is a conscious alignment, right? We know that there's something called the universal force, and each planet has its own force and energy that it displays, and based on its location, it has higher peaks of energy and lower peaks of energy, exactly like the Earth, like you were talking about, and all ancient cultures used to base their crop rotations. They used to know about when their rivers would flood. Like the ancient Egyptians, for instance, used to particularly be ready for the 8th, or like in August, right? 8/8 for that alignment, because that's the time of the flooding of the Nile, and that's when they would know, okay, it's soon the flooding, so we need to prepare for it and all of that. And of course, but these are ancient Egyptians, right? They had other beliefs. Uh, when it comes to this is numerology as well, right? It's based on 8/8 as being symbolical numbers, right? It's just a reminder of clarity, courage, and compassion, right?
Mm.
That these are not things that are simply seasonal now because the gate is open or the energy flow is higher, but it's something that we choose constantly to to partake every day in our life. The from my perspective, from a life purpose perspective, it's it's not understanding only that love is a feeling, but it's a sort of it's a leadership principle, right? So we start with using the courage of our authentic lives in leadership to act according to our values, to act in accordance with our values and beliefs and inspire others through that. It's also it's just it's a time for our inner truth basically to set in motion our actions and our desires. It's harnessing the energy around us that peaks based on the energy of different planets that are given to us to allow us to move forward and continuously keep that alignment of within ourselves. So that's my intro perspective and explanation from the life purpose perspective.
Mm.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think what's really useful is we know that when we talk about a full moon and we have a full moon, we always used to think that the dogs would howl and people would go a little bit cuckoo. And certainly from a psychological point of view, there is a definite shift in what happens. And that's because of those frequencies that are going around the earth. And when we have the moon's gravitational pull, it pulls the energy, and people that are very susceptible or very, I'm not going to say susceptible to bad things, but people that are very sensitive will find that their moods will fluctuate, right? So we know that there are these movements that happen throughout the year. Every time the moon's, at least certainly 12 times every month, the moon is going to have an effect on the earth because of this gravitational pull, and it will affect the waves. It'll affect the clouds. It'll affect everything that goes around. So this energy is all to do with this kind of gravitational pull. In the same way, I think this Lions portal is kind of like a gravitational pull. We know that the moon is it's certainly at this time, the moon is really putting a lot of influence on the energetic field around the earth, which means that it's a place where there's going to be a bit of disruption. And we talked about something in Mercury in retrograde. Well, often Mercury in retrograde is about confusion and not seeing things clearly. And, and I know that's old astrology, but we can understand it when we know that people that are really sensitive may have this disruption. So let's bring it into layman's terms and into terms that we understand in a new way. So for me, the Lions portal and certainly over this period of time, I've been really looking at paying attention to how do I shift from my old me into the me that I want to become, right? Closer aligned to who I was born to be, right? And so that's been really going on for me in this Lion portal. But what was really coming up for me in these last few days is really paying attention to the mirror, which Caroline, you talk a lot about, the mirror. And I suppose what I was really looking at this Lions portal gate, or the sense of energy flow, recognizing how can I purchase it? How can I utilize it to really let myself be extra sensitive to new information that may be coming around for me. Now, when we all sleep at night, the Schumann frequency goes around the earth, and that's kind of like it's between 4 and 8. So that's in the alpha state. So we are always experiencing this alpha wave state, which is where we receive information. So the thing that really started to kick in for me was about how do I let go? And a lot of what we're doing now at the minute is, certainly as a therapist, whatever, we keep going back to the past. But really what we don't do is look at the mirror and how do we utilize the mirror for fixing the past, right? So I was looking at something like, maybe a lot of people don't really know, but I didn't really have a very good relationship with my mother. I loved my mother, but I didn't have a good relationship with her. But over the last few days, I've been looking and thinking, what if I came into this world? What was the learning I didn't have when I was younger, that my mother may have needed? And can I open my heart to, in a way, really truly acknowledge that you know, I was too young and I couldn't do that. So therefore, acknowledge this and let it go. Just let it go. Let go all the stuff that I was holding with resentment or anger or whatever. And it's been really interesting because looking at the mirror and going, okay, so when I was younger, I was terrified of my mom because she's an authoritarian. I know that we don't talk about past lives, but for me, I do believe in them. For me, it was really about accepting and going, well, if I was the authoritarian at the time, and I did this to my mom, what would I have wanted? What would I have wanted to make the correction? And I would have really wanted to go and put my arms around my mum and go, you know, Ma, I love you anyway. And give her the love that she never got from me. And when I realized that, it really opened my heart. And I felt a lot of stuff just clear away. So I'm really thinking in the sense of any kind of relationship, this time when we are more sensitive, which is what the portal is about. It's about being more sensitive to the energy that we can then have maximum effect on change. So if we put it like that, it's when the energy is the ripest. And so here we can sit there and we can think, okay, right? Given that we've evolved in time, and I do believe God always gives us second chances. I just don't believe that a loving God would say, go to hell. No ways. I think everybody gets a second chance. And so if this were the case, what can I do with this person in front of me, even if they're dead? What can I do now to let it go, to move forward in that new state of being? Because we all know love is really the key, right? If we keep looking at that from the frame of love, then we undo everything. It's when we still hold all the old stuff and we keep going back. We can go back time again. We will always find something. So we have to stop that. We have to go, right, that's it. What do we do with this knowledge now? And how do we correct it in the now for the future? So that's where I'm going with this Lion's Portal. And I'm really focusing on all the bits. Interesting from a Kabbalistic point of view, which is part of the Judaism religion, is that this is also a time when we go into a space where we do a lot of introspection. So I know that we don't talk about astrology, but it is the point of Virgo, which is all about looking very carefully at all our things and looking at how we can apologize, how we can really deal with those resentments and angers and things like that. So we're coming into that time. So this energy is shifting us into this space of cleansing so that we can start doing it, what we call a correction, correcting our soul back, cleaving it back to the alignment we need to be in.
I like that sort of clearing and, as you say, connecting with your soul and making sure there's that alignment. And for me, this whole portal is an opportunity to sort of, for that connection between, you know, this physical world, this physical body, and my higher self, or God, but love in particular, and for us to really become aware of that. And what this portal does, it only amplifies what is already here. And so if you're running fear about something, then something's going to show up that's going to make me even more fearful in this moment. And it's just recognizing that. And if there's anything that you're holding on to, any resentment or guilt, it will amplify it. And you'll notice that things will happen that will bring it out in this particular period of time. So it's not running away from it. It's actually, for me, it's putting up that prayer of support to understand, well, what is now here to be cleared? What is here for me to be able to serve and do what I'm meant to be doing here on this earth right now? Because I have felt so held back. And what I've been focusing on is me being able to step out as that leader that I'm meant to be, that I've been holding back on, and allowing for everything to show up and for the support to show up. Because in this energy, what you find is that people come to support you, that those collaborations that you've been asking for suddenly materialize.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you find yourself in that position where you're just talking with someone, and it happened to me yesterday. I was just blown out of the water actually with what happened. And I wasn't going to go to the gym at the time that I'd said I was going to go. I was going to ring up, make it later. Something in me said, no, you go now. You need to go now. I went, and I was actually there earlier than my time. And I ended up meeting up with someone who, again, I left a bit earlier than she did, but I went over to have a look at a property across the road, and she was guided to come over at the same time. And we just got talking. We spent the next 2 hours talking, going, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, you know, there's something here, and we know we're going to be working together. There's a collaboration for us to have. It was so beautiful. And it's just like something's slotted into place, and we both said the same thing. And for me, this is what this energy or this particular time is about. It's bringing out the opportunities, and it's helping you to get that clarity and to listen and take the actions that you're being guided to take that maybe you've been putting off, because there's something that has in your heart say, now, it's now. Now is the time. And I've had other things that have lined up over the last few weeks, a course that has been helping me to really dive into the saboteurs that have been holding me back, and understanding and how sneaky those saboteurs are. You know, the judge, there's the controller, there's the avoider, and there's some others as well. But I'm really going, oh my goodness, I'm getting to see how they are operating in my life. And all of this is showing up in this period of time. You know, I truly believe that this is a gift given to us to actually be able to help us to move forward and to use it and to know how to use it wisely, because it's very powerful. And I believe it helps us connect with God, with your higher self,
Mm-hmm.
with the universe, and with what you're meant to be doing. And it helps you to move forward. It increases it, sort of, things get quicker, you know. So yeah, take a breath because things will happen. But it's like, okay, how can we deal with this? What do we need to do? And that's something else I'd like to explore in this conversation. Kamal, what else would you like to say around this?
I mean, we were talking about it, and like everybody shared a perspective, and I like that very much because it allows different points of view. For me, again, the, for people that misinterpret or misunderstand, is this the only time of the year where we can set intentions, when we can have a flow of energy? And that is incorrect. It's not. There are multiple times during, you can set your intentions every day if you want to.
Mm.
You can set your intentions and live those moments, and dream about them every day, so that the intentions and the energy around you flows better, and you get the sense of things happening for reasons. Like we mentioned several times, things always happen for a reason, right? Like you, Caroline, you decided, no, I'm going to go now. And you met that lady and you started talking for 2 hours, and there was a reason behind it, and you got a boost of energy. You went to the gym, and lots of things happen at the same time, right?
Mm.
Uh, the other point that I want to, the other thing that I want to mention is the this is not simply about the Lionsgate, but this is about love, like
Mm.
Shireen was talking about. It's setting your feelings of love into the right direction, into where you want to go, where you want them to go, where you want that love to heal.
Mm.
Um, And when I'm saying heal, it doesn't necessarily mean mend a pain or hurt. It just means healing anything, healing your lack of leadership, your lack of courage, your lack of something, and filling it up with love so that you can eventually move forward and set your and align yourself with how with love, basically. Um, Again, it's about intentions, right? And we all have certain intentions in our mind, but we don't put our foot forward into these intentions. And oh, I really want to do this, but and this, but as long as there's a but, that means you're not setting your intentions. And what I'd like to share is during this period of your life, right? Consider it a renewal time. I'm gonna take because I mentioned the ancient Egyptians culture a lot in life purpose and how I do things because the ancient Egyptians were one of the cultures that lived purposefully every single day. They had purpose in everything they did, right? And this time of the year, it's the flooding of the Nile. So what does a flooding of the Nile mean? It just means renewal. All the minerals are coming from the south, flooding the whole Nile with, FYI, with the most fertile land in the world. The land of like the Nile, you can plant anything and it will grow. And all of that is because of the minerals that are coming all along the Nile and reaching Egypt. So Egypt is one of the most fertile places on earth. Yes, of course, you have the Levant, but the Nile. Anyway, the renewal of that earth, renewal of plantation, renewal of minerals, of energy. That is the time for us to set and reflect and reset and recommit ourselves into what we want in our new life. Um, in a sense, it gives us the courage to understand that I'm going to put my priorities straight. I'm going to focus instead of having scattered energy everywhere. I'm going to focus on certain things, one or two things, meaningful areas of our life that where we can direct our courage and love toward. We can assess the current time we are in our life and take actions to align what is misaligned, to align with our values, and to set the record straight that these are part of my values and beliefs. I will live my way this way. These are not part of these do not align with my values and beliefs. Let's remove them. People in our lives applies as well. Does this person align with my values and beliefs? Yes, no. I'm not saying like burn bridges down, but avoid people like that because they don't align with your values and beliefs. It's a time to, like I said, to fill your heart with love and change. And it's just energy potential around you and around us. And we have that energy potential all the time. We just don't feel it. We don't think about it. And the more you consider these things, you will see that things happen in specific periods of our life, in specific periods of growth of energy around us. And that's the time to focus, to concentrate on what is it that I want to um, create a conscious abundance in. Not from a materialistic perspective, but in the richness of relationships, opportunities, and self-expression.
I love what you said about energy potential around us all the time.
It is
It
around us,
is,
and people just
it
don't
is
notice it. That's all.
exactly. And it's just at times it's increased and other times it's
Yeah.
not so much, but it's there. all the time. Absolutely.
I mean, if you think from a religious perspective, it's an ebb and flow, and it's because we are either closer or further away from our beliefs and from God or the energy or the universe, whatever one wants to believe it. That's the only reason. Shireen.
Shireen, are you?
I'm just listening and enjoying.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, you're thinking, where's it taking you? Where's it taking you? What's sort of
Yeah,
coming to mind?
I suppose it really is, making me, yeah, I suppose I'm leaning more into this. I'm reflecting a little bit of the conversation that we had before we came on.
Yeah.
I suppose that's sitting there for me as well. So yeah. And so I'm really thinking more in the idea is how do we frame all of this in such a way that it doesn't matter who hears it, that they hear what needs to be heard, and that there isn't any resistance to, well, I don't believe this, I don't believe that, I don't believe this, I don't believe that, because those are really gates, barriers to us really being at our full potential. And so that's what's been sitting in my head. It does concern me that the most amount of wars in the world have been caused because of religion, and most amount of wars is really to do with us believing that we have the right path and someone else isn't. And I find that really, for me, the most unloving thing we can do for anybody else, because God is about inclusivity. Right? God is about acceptance of everybody. We all have our path to follow. In that, the only principle that God ever says is love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, and love everybody as you love God. That's it, full stop. So whatever else is there, this is for me what this line portal is about. So where are we? What is it that we need to truly understand about when we love God? When we love God, how do we love God? Are we afraid that God's going to say something to us that we may not like? Are we going to, are we okay with just who we are? Do we have to worry? Because I think that even if we have negativity, God is so loving that God would not ever forsake us in any way. We've never been forsaken. And so the Lion's Portal is really about truly deep, for me, truly deeply understanding that and holding that so that I can utilize that in the way I am with other people. Now, I have my own reactions and my own stuff, but when I come into alignment, I can really sense the difference in how I communicate with the soul, how I look into that soul, and how much I can be in that pure state of love, right? Where I can pretty much forgive whatever is almost unforgivable because I can come from that place of understanding. And I think that's a really difficult place and a very inspiring place at the same time to go to. And I think that's what we have to do as if we want to create a different earth, we have got to really start with that resonance, connect to that feeling, that deep feeling of love, so it resonates everywhere throughout ourselves. And that means we start walking, talking, being love in whichever way that we can. So that's kind of where I am, and just really thinking, leaning into that and thinking about that. How do we really truly bring that into our everyday life? How do we truly don't budge from that? Don't waver, right? Stay in it. How do we do that? And obviously that's part of that intentionality. We've got to start each day with that intention of how do I love God with all my heart or my soul or my might? How do I love somebody else with that same amount of love? That there's no difference, right? Because we are a spark of the Creator. We are the Creator, just personified.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, everybody that we see is the mirror of us. Particularly if it's someone we're having a hard time with. It's really that mirror. What's going on here? What do I have to step up to do in order that this pattern no longer is carried forward into the energetic blueprint of the future? How do we do that? It's a really interesting thing.
A great question. And I think that's part of what's here to look at. Because when you say, how do you love God? For me, it's about if you love yourself, if you find a way of truly loving yourself, then you're loving God. Because as you said, we are a spark of the Creator. If you don't love yourself, then how can you be loving God? You know? So for me, that's the key here. And this Lionsgate energy is actually, it is encouraging that authenticity, to be true about yourself and to really get to what is going on and where don't you truly love yourself. And anything that's happened in the past, all that emotional baggage that you're still carrying, time to release it. So what you can do is identify what patterns, because Shireen, you spoke about patterns that seems recurring, and it's identifying them so that they no longer, those ones that actually no longer serve you, because there are patterns that still do, but there will be patterns of behavior that you took up because at the time there was part of you thought it was keeping you safe. And so it was appropriate in that moment, but it then becomes something you do all the time. And that's what you need to then recognize. And this is where this energy, amplifying it, it helps you to see it clearer, because it's so much bigger and in your face, to see where, where are these patterns? What are they? And that they no longer serve. They serve then, but they're no longer relevant now. And actually, they're not helping you at all. So it's then being able to let that go. So really recognizing those patterns and talking about your goals and making sure that everything's aligned. Your values, your dreams, and your goals, do they all still match up? Or has things sort of gone a little bit wonky? This is a great time to explore that. And this is how you can use this energy, because it is that amplification. Doesn't mean it's the only time, as Kamal was saying. There are other times, and you can do it all the time. It's just at this particular moment in time, there's this amplification that is happening. So it's a great time to really dive in and explore. And also to really get in touch with that love that's inside of you and have loving conversations. What conversations that maybe were a little bit not quite good, bring some love to it. This is the opportunity to really move that relationship, move whatever was being a bit stuck, and move it through love. Something that is a bit of a pitfall with this energy is it because it can magnify disagreements. So the key, which I think you'll both be interested in, that it magnifies disagreements. And that's why I wasn't surprised. It was really sort of the conversation that was had before we went on air, just like, okay, this is what's happening. But the key is actually to channel passion into growth and not conflict. So recognize, oh gosh, is there conflict here? It's becoming more conflicting. It's just stop, go, oh, okay, what's happening here? And come into that heart center, that love, and the passion of what is the truth that's here for you right now that is wanting to be expressed, and be able to express it without anger, without causing more conflict. So that's something to be aware of. So people, some of you might have been aware of things happened over these last few days. Well, since the portal opens to July the 26th, so it's quite a period of time. And even before then, you'll sort of been feeling things sort of build up. It's not like it's a open, close. Energy, the flow of energy doesn't like that. So that, like if you think of a wave, it builds up, and you have this crest of a wave, and then it just breaks over, and then it just diminishes, but it doesn't stop it. It's still got an energy. It's still got a movement to it. So, there is that. So that's why it's, even though 8/8 was on Friday, we're now on the 12th when is that the portal is closing, but we still have the opportunity to utilize that. So look at for those patterns, set your intentions, notice what is happening around you, what is suddenly becoming quite intense or more amplified, bigger and more in your face than normal. And just notice what emotions come up in you. Is there fear about what this is? Look at it in the face and go, okay, what is here? What's being reflected here? What is here for clearing, for learning? Everything is an opportunity to learn and to grow.
There are a few things that were mentioned. It's how to love oneself and how to love God. And it got me thinking about something that is misinterpreted, but has has great value in Islam, which is jihad. Now, people misinterpret jihad. Jihad, the translation means struggle or striving. And it is the internal struggle, the battle with oneself to live in alignment with God's will. Right? And so in Islam, there's the explanation of il-nafs, the soul, or the self, whichever, but it's the struggle of the soul. And the soul goes through 3 stages. The first stage is al-nafs al-ammara, which means the commanding self that is driven solely by base desires. Then you have al-nafs al-lawama, which is the self-reproaching soul, and that is conscious. You are conscious of your wrongdoing, and you're struggling and striving to improve. And then you have the third level, which is nafs al-mutma'inna, which means the soul at peace. And that is when one is aligned with God's will and has tranquility of heart. Now, the jihad of the nafs, the jihad of the soul, that is the ongoing process of moving from the first state to the final state, from a life of controlled impulses to a life anchored in higher purpose and divine connection, divine love, right? And in connection with love and leadership, I'd like people to understand that if we talk about the jihad of the soul, the struggle, the striving of the soul, when it directly aligns about self-leadership, the ability to guide yourself before guiding others. It's the ability to, because you cannot lead a community or a family or a setting if you cannot lead your own soul with love. And love starts with self-purification. So in order to love God completely, you clear your heart of arrogance, resentment, selfishness, not erasing the self, but more of a refinement of your soul. And so we talk about leadership, about love, self-purification, and then the final piece of the puzzle, to serve others as a leader, you have to have mastery over yourself, over your heart. A lot of people are enslaved by their ego, by the will to lead uh, with power, with kind of a dictatorship, authoritarian, without filling your heart with love. And a person that has wrestled with their soul to find love in leadership, to find self-purification, to rid themselves of their ego, will lead a life of purpose and of service. So, loving oneself is the path to loving God fully.
Yeah. Beautiful
So,
way.
yeah, that's
Beautifully
something
put.
that came to mind when both of you
Mm.
were talking, and it's all about accepting yourself as part of the creation of God. You are worthy, you are purposeful, and you are filled with potential. And perhaps this is our talk will allow you to fill your heart with with this moment and make you hold on to
Mm.
uh, your values and beliefs from what you have been led astray by, and become accountable
Mm.
for the act of love, for the act of leadership through love, and treating yourself with love and mercy while you ask God for whatever you wish.
Mm.
And on top of that, forgiving yourself.
Mm.
Forgiving yourself not because you failed, but forgiving yourself because you are striving to improve.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose it comes down to that definition of what is love, isn't it? I
Mm.
suppose it's all coming down to that. And, we can say, love yourself. What does loving yourself mean? And I think there's something about, I suppose, what I'm thinking if I think about the love of God, I think more in awe.
Hmm.
So that awesomeness or that expandedness or that sense of wow, wow. Can we look at ourselves and go, wow, are we just magnificent? Can we do that? Now, just because we can reflect and look at that and say, hey, we're magnificent, doesn't mean that somebody else isn't, right? If we have that, then that's part of the ego, that old image or damaged self that's kind of in the way. But if we can truly just celebrate the awesomeness of ourself, is a really good step. Just to go, whoa, hey, I'm healing. My goodness, how awesome is that? Right? My fingers, I can cut myself. How awesome is that? My body just does it. How awesome. And just live in that awesomeness for a little while and let that build that energy. And I think it's kind of really important for me. It's not just about the gentle reflections, but it is about living in that energetic state of what God is.
Mm.
And it is an awesome state. And it's quite hard, I think, sometimes to access that unless we're taught to go back to that state. Because when we were a child, we knew how awesome we were, right? We didn't even think that we had to ask people for stuff. We just asked because we were awesome. They would give it to us, right? We lost that sense of just how awesome we are. We struggled to get here and we're here. I mean, hell, that's an awesome journey. So I think if we can go back to that sense of real awe and reverence for ourselves. So when we eat our food, this is me I'm revering myself here. I'm really taking care of myself in a very different way. Then I think that we're probably getting closer and closer to what it may be to really, truly love in that,
Mm.
in the expansiveness of what it is. Yeah, be kind to ourselves. But, if you're in awe, you're kind to yourself. So it's kind of like, what is the state that allows me all of those things, to be kind, to be compassionate, to be all of that? What is that state like? How can I go into that state every day and live in it and be it? Yeah. And that, I suppose that's the key message probably I'm trying to give you all today.
Yeah,
Because
no.
I know it's astrology, but the lions are awesome. Right? Lions are awesome creatures.
They are.
They're like the king of the jungle, or not the jungle, but of the savannah. And they are truly awesome, right? They're magnificent creatures. So if there's something about that, hey, I am just me and I'm here and I deserve because I am just me. I'm awesome, right? And to own that. And I think that's what we lack, is we truly are afraid to really recognize our own awesomeness. Was it Marianne Williamson who said that we're not afraid of we're something like we're afraid of just how powerful we are.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it reminded me of a story when I was very young. And that's when I kind of learned, I kind of had another little click this week in a kind of a shift, was when I was remembering as a child, my brother threw a big stone at me, whack it, and hit me. And I was so hurt and angry. And I turned around and said, God will punish you for that. I was only 7. And within 5 minutes, he broke his arm. I carried the guilt of that for a long time, and I shut my power down. I shut down this thing, what I knew that I had potential of. Because if we are creators of God, if we are part of God personified, we have that potential, which is why the world has done so many crazy things, right? Because we have that intentional energy that we can manifest. And I shut it down because I realized this was the wrong way to go about the power I had. What I didn't realize as a child was that actually I didn't do it because I didn't know how, right? I just shut it off as a reflex. And only later I realized, that Marianne Williamson, her statement, we don't realize how powerful we are, and how I shut it off was because I didn't know how to channel power in an adult way. I'd already experienced it when it had caused so much hurt, right? So I hadn't experienced it at that point. But now I've realized, hey, okay, when you have your adult power, when you have power that's very different, and it comes from a space of, I'm empowered in self and I'm awesome in self. We don't have to worry about what anybody else is doing. We can just be happy with that energetic power that we have, because we're aligned straight away to God, and we will make the right decisions. We will be kind. We will be gentle. We will be considerate. We will be courageous. We will be all of those things when we gather that power again and recognize it. Remember who we are.
And accept it. And as you say, it's not be fearful of it.
Yeah.
And it's knowing how to use it in a mature, responsible way. Because you can get angry, and yes, it can.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
With power comes responsibility, right?
Yeah.
It can't go separately. It's got to come with responsibility. And unfortunately, we know a number person with a name starting with T. He doesn't accept any responsibility. We have got to have responsibility if others give power to them.
So it's recognizing that, and recognizing where we've shut it down, because then we're hiding, or we're losing our voice. We've shut our voices down. And it's about allowing yourself to find your voice, which is what this show is all about. It's not about shutting
Lead
people
from
down.
within.
Lead from within, exactly.
Mm.
And it's not about shutting people down because they've got something to say that is not what you believe in, or it's not what you think they should be saying. The whole point is people have a voice. They have something to say.
Yeah.
And if that's something that pushes your button, so to speak, or triggers something in you, then that is done for a reason. It's there for you to grow from, to recognize that actually there's a reflection of something inside of you that is wanting and calling out for release, for renewal, for growth in some way, for healing, and not shutting it down. And so it is about giving that voice to whatever is wanting to be said and whatever is wanting to be spoken about. And to actually be able to manifest successfully, we need to heal all parts of us that actually perhaps think we're not worthy of what we're wanting, whatever we're desiring. And you mentioned, I think it was Kamal, you mentioned about self-worth, was it? And so it is recognizing where those parts of you that don't feel worthy of that success and healing that. So it's actually getting clear of what you want from your heart, not from the ego. It's going into your heart and going, what is it I really want here? And then actually embodying the future you right now, not waiting for some time to become that person, you know. And I know there's this talk about, oh, act as if, but it's not about that. It's about being right now the person that you are wanting to be. Embody it right now. Really know who it is, that person you want to be, and not wait to become that person. And then just surrender. Set your intention, take aligned action, and then trust, because the universe has your back. God has your back. This energy that is all around us has your back. And at this particular moment in time, it's got an extra strength to it. It doesn't actually, the portal itself, it doesn't actually do the manifesting for you.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's what you do. It's you that does it, and that's what you have to recognize. It's simply that energy is more supportive. It's more amplified. So it's down to you to clear what no longer serves, to set your intentions, and then take aligned action. Be in action, and then surrender.
I like that. It's Shireen, you got my mind going to the whole quote of Marianne, and because I'm a massive fan of Coach Carter and the whole, it's added a little bit more onto it, but I know it by heart, and I want to share it. Not the one from Coach Carter, but the one from Marianne, which is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? I get goosebumps every time I love it. The one from Coach Carter
Absolutely.
obviously is a very longer one. And what Carol Ann and Shireen and we're all talking about, that love and alignment. And so to finalize our talk today, I want to share a few perhaps questions that you want to ask yourself in this period of time. And as we mentioned, this is just, you are setting the record straight for what you want in your life, how you want to live your life. So just ask yourself, are you still standing still outside, waiting for the perfect timing on the perfect moment? Where in your life um, have you been leading without love, focusing simply on results without remembering the people and the values behind them? Where have you been loving without leading? Caring deeply, and at the same time avoiding the responsibility to act. What truth have you been avoiding? Because speaking that truth might require you to change.
Mm.
And if you fully stepped into your own courage today, who would benefit the most? You or the people you are meant to serve? And I'll leave you with these two to ponder about.
Mm.
Nice. Shreen, what would you like to leave our listeners with?
Well, it was really that quote that kept coming to me, which is very much Marianne Williamson. And yeah, as Kamal said, who are we not to show our light? And that is what we're here for. And so I think it is just reminding everybody, if we choose, and it does take courage, it does take does take a lot to actually choose love in different situations. It takes a lot of effort, but if you do it, God is there always. That's when you feel the real presence of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. You will always feel it the moment you choose love, the moment you choose to step back and go, hey, hold on a minute, where you're not reacting, where you're spending time just really working from the truth as you see it, the deeper truth that resonates so deeply within you. And that's never a reaction. It's always about something that comes from, it emerges from you, like from every little essence in your being. So I would just say, spend a little time looking at how awesome you are. Recognize that you are an awesome being, that you are a being of light, and allow it to ooze from you. Imagine, just visualize every day, just imagine it oozing from you until it does. And then you'll see just how much light comes towards you.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah. There's a quote that I've got here. It says, love is not just what you feel, it's what you choose to grow moment by moment. So what are you choosing to grow each moment? And I've got a few things here that you might like to work through, and actually a journal prompt. It's about getting clarity on all of this. So what am I ready to release? What am I ready to invite in? Let's have a journal on those two prompts and questions. And then also practice energetic decluttering. I love that phrase. It's saying no to draining commitments. So recognize what is draining your energy that you could say no to. So practice energetic decluttering. And that's what I'd love to leave you with. So thank you for listening, and yeah, use this time wisely and feel that love that is within you. And we're here. We are three here every Tuesday. Noms is here. She wasn't able to make it here today with us. But she's here. The talk show is here Monday to Friday, 1 o'clock. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we look forward to speaking with you again.